Now tuned into the greatest.
Discipline myself, so when that bag come, I won't fumble. I'm just stacking on the low, but hey, I'm tired of being humble. Let me get to it. That motivation music, get control of your life. Don't let nobody else do it. Cause when I gon' have met your Ep.536 cruising, feel like you winning on the ground.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something, hit us up on the voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we will play your take back on our next episode. And speaking of episodes, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off of your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but you better go ahead, purchase a ticket to go see a good concert, or maybe you want to go see those miraculous Detroit Pistons. Oh, man. I tried to tell y'all I'm acting damn fool when the Pistons are finally good. So that fooldom starts today. I don't even know if that's a word, but making stuff up apparently. But no, seriously, on a positive note, or on a realistic note, I should say, Pistons, they recently played the New York Knicks in the Garden, and the Pistons, they won. They defeated the Knicks 126-111, and it was a butt whooping, man. I personally loved every second of it. Cade Cunningham went off. The man dropped 42 points, 13 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, and also shot 50%. Hit 5 3-pointers. This man, he added to his MVP campaign, and this is just what you see out of an MVP candidate and an MVP winner, honestly. So I was loving every bit of this performance. But a couple things I want to say before we jump into all of the details of the game is a lot of people want to come at this narrative is like, oh, well, Pistons, they feel like they're tougher than guys. They felt like they're tougher than the Knicks. And whenever they play these other teams in the East, they just think they're so much tougher and they feel much tougher. It's not that the Pistons feel like they're tougher than these other teams. They literally are. They are more tough than these other teams in the Eastern Conference that they play and that they bully, whether the score shows it or not. Either way, the Pistons are more physical. They're more intense on the defensive end. They play both ends of the ball, and everybody understands their role on the Pistons. This is one of the things that makes them so dangerous. It's not only Cade Cunningham that can light you up for 40 points like he just did the Knicks, but he can also distribute if he needs to. He also has other guys who are perimeter shooters and understand their role as well, which is not to be the main facilitator at times. It's to clean up, get the easy buckets on the cut or easy buckets on the perimeter where you're knocking down threes. And yet alone, the one thing I love about JB Bickerstaff, or I'll add, the one thing I really love about JB Bickerstaff is JB Bickerstaff will not let you see the floor if you're not playing defense. He don't care who you are, what the narrative is around you as a player. You're not seeing the floor if you don't play defense. So that's the identity of the Pistons. And it's no secret that everybody on the Pistons plays defense, and every team that's successful in the NBA plays defense. And Pistons just happen to be one of the best that's doing it right now in terms of playing defense, which is why they have the best record in the NBA. So I know a lot of people want to come at people with the narratives of, oh, well, they just think they're tougher than a lot of guys, which is why they're winning these games. Yes, true to an extent of yes, they obviously think they're tough, and they are tough, but that's more so what it is. They play, they're hungry. They play harder on both ends of the ball. It's that simple. They want it more, and they're going to be more physical. They're going to out-rebound you. They're going to go grab the free ball and the loose balls, the saves. They're going to jump on the ball when it's free. They're going to do the dirty work more than a lot of other teams. So this is why they're so dominant right now. And to specifically go back to the Knicks here, and the Knicks issue, it wasn't necessarily they can't stop Cade. That was a huge issue, of course. Obviously, as anybody who watched that game seen, is they clearly struggled because they couldn't stop Cade. But outside of letting Cade just tear them apart offensively, the Knicks couldn't defend worth a damn, man. They couldn't defend worth a damn, because even when you didn't have Cade in the game, you still seeing guys be able to create offense in the paint. I got to look up the specific amount of points that they gave up in the paint But that was a big issue, at least from when I seen, at least back in the second half, third quarter, fourth quarter, when Cade was subbed out in the game toward the end of the third and early of the fourth. That was just what I happened to see is the Knicks paint was still being exploited. And that was a big issue for them. And also, like the defense, it kind of goes back to what I'm saying. The defense for the Knicks wasn't really there, which is why they struggle. And of course, obviously, Cade didn't help the Knicks' case being able to score from any and everywhere on the court. But I have to kind of relate this back to the Knicks, and I got to rub it in for Knicks fans too. Is I think it's fair that we admit that Cade is a problem, and not even Knicks fans, actually, just the NBA fans of the NBA, bro. You got to admit that Cade is a legitimate problem, and you got to admit that this man is an MVP. And I've already said this. I'm not going to give you the whole breakdown again of why he's the MVP, but we've seen the Knicks try everything, any and everything to stop Cade Cunningham, and they still couldn't do it. They tried to put Alvarado on him. He was too little. They tried to put Josh Hart on him. He was too little. Okay, now you try and go up a little bit in size. You put OG Anunoby on him. He was too slow. Then you try and put Mikal Bridges on Cade. He was too little. He too light in the ass. He didn't have enough weight on him because Cade still bullied him. No matter who you tried to put on Cade Cunningham, it did not work. And this is why I say Cade is a top 3 guard in the league and arguably the best point guard in the league because, one, no matter who you put on him, he can score because he's a physical freak of nature with his size, speed, and quickness and his ability to score from the perimeter and in the inside. And also, if you look on the other side of the ball on defense, Cade will play great defense on anybody 1 through 4 in the NBA. This is what separates him in terms of being one of the best guards in the NBA and arguably the best guard in the NBA. So I understand the comparisons of, oh, well, this guy can score better than Cade. It's debatable. We see when Cade needs to score, he can do that. And then I also see the debate of, oh, well, he's a better distributor. I'm not going for any of those debates because what we see Cade do when he's distributing the ball is it's very unlike a lot of other guys. And then if you factor all of these things together, distributing ability, the scoring ability, defensive ability, Cade has it all. And again, he has the side speed and quickness to get by anybody you try and put on him. So it doesn't matter. So this is just some of the arguments that I want to give on people who are claiming that, oh, well, Cade's still not MVP ready yet. Are you serious? Like, it's a joke, man. It's a joke. So I watched Cade. And I really can't hear this from Knicks fans because we'll break down the GQ cover thing and everything. So if you don't know, earlier in the day yesterday, actually, or earlier, what is today? Friday? Yeah. So earlier on Thursday, Cade cover for GQ dropped, and it was a lot of quotes in there about just, how he felt in the state of basketball and being in the NBA. So I'll give you some of the quotes later, but a lot of people who follow the Pistons, a lot of people who follow these conversations of top point guards and things like that, understand that Cade he kind of explained a little bit, and he hinted at that conversation. Meanwhile, or I should say, meaning a lot of people always compare Brunson to Cade. That's like the main comparison is Jalen Brunson is better than Cade Cunningham. He's taking that top 3 slot, whatever the case is. And no, I'm not going for that. So it's funny because now we see when Brunson has to put his team on his back again, which he had a solid game. I mean, hey, I ain't mad at Brunson. He does his thing. I have a lot of respect for Brunson and what he does. I'm open to all arguments about Brunson being one of the top point guards in his league, just not better than Cade. But when I see these sort of things, I'm intrigued because now we're at a point where we've seen the Pistons smack the Knicks 3 times straight. This is a season sweep over the Knicks. Three times straight this season so far. And it's funny to me because the Detroit Pistons have smacked the Knicks by an average of 28 points this season so far. They swept them all year, won all 3 matchups. The first game in January, the Pistons won by literally 30 points, won by 31. It was 121-80. Then you go to February, and the Pistons damn near smacked the Knicks by 40 points at that point. And that was a 118-180 Pistons win. And then last night, the Pistons smacked them up again, 126-111 in the Garden. So it don't matter. Anytime, any place, I'm seeing that Cade is getting it done. I'm seeing the Pistons are getting it done, whether they're shorthanded or not. Because let's not forget, in this game last night, where we seen the Pistons whop up the Knicks, no Jalen Duren, who's a pivotal piece, and no Isaiah Stewart, who's a pivotal piece in the Pistons rotation. So this just also alludes to how great this Pistons team is and how deep this Pistons team is in terms of everybody knowing their role and everybody playing that role that's going to get them the win. So I love that there. And for all you Knicks fans out there who want to talk about, oh, well, we won the playoffs last year. That's cool. Y'all still ain't got no championships. Y'all don't know what them NBA finals look like. And also, I pray the Pistons get to see the New York Knicks in the playoffs because we've been whapping that tail all season long. So I pray. We already snatched the chain from the New York Knicks fans. We already done took the card. We done did y'all dirty all season. So I absolutely pray that the Pistons get to see the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs because I already know Pistons are on a vengeance tour of everybody catching the belt, yet along the Knicks catching that belt because they eliminated the Pistons last year. So I absolutely pray that to me, I'm not going to assume, but I would be very confident that the Pistons are going to the second round if we match up against the Knicks in the first round. I would be very confident. So this was interesting because, like I said, same day GQ cover dropped. It was a big issue here with Cade Cunningham, actually. And one of the things that's interesting here is, so Cade dropped some quotes. He says, I'll just, all throughout the GQ cover, it was a lot of different things. So I'll just say some of the quotes that Cade said in this GQ cover. Obviously, it dropped the same time he put up 40 in the Garden, which was huge. But some of the quotes to back up his play and to kind of just help out his argument of being one of the best players in the NBA right now. He said, I want to be on an Olympic team coming up. I think I'm the best American player. The flopping is just too much. 3 of the top 5 to 10 guys do it consistently. He said, I know I'm better than yada, 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 but I'm not getting the same calls. People feel like this guy might be better than me, and he's nowhere near better than me. That to me, that was a shot at Brunson. And also some other conversations there. And then he said, as the Detroit Pistons as a whole, he said, I think we're a top team in the East. It's going to be a dogfight to get to the top of it, but we're right there. We got all the dogs we need. And I loved it. He backed up all of these quotes with a 40-piece at the Garden. And man, oh man, whoo, it was beautiful. It was absolute cinema. And again, it wasn't just Cade. I want to give a lot of credit to that supporting cast because without that supporting cast on the Pistons helping him out defensively and offensively when he's out of the game, this wouldn't have happened. But I really do think it just comes down to the defensive intensity here with the Detroit Pistons. It's just no coincidence that all the top teams in the NBA right now are leading the NBA in points allowed per game. Like you see Thunder up there, the Celtics, the Pistons, the Rockets, and the Spurs. And these are all teams that have the best record in the NBA right now, which are also top 5 in points allowed in the NBA. So they are all stellar defenses. Some have better defensive appearances than others, which is why we see a difference in records. But above all, these teams all have an emphasis on defense rather than trying to just score the ball and throw up some three-pointers. So I think it really goes back to that. Now, the final test, and I'll leave it here and I'll wrap up and go toward the Adam Silver thing. But the final test with this Pistons team will be obviously in the playoffs. And I think when we get to the playoffs, the biggest thing will be how consistent can these role guys be for the Pistons to help out Cade? How good can the supporting cast be to help out Cade? Because we know he's going to see doubles. We know he's probably even going to see some triple teams, but teams are going to swarm Cade like we seen last year. And I think he's developed in being able to work through those double teams and being able to fight through being swarmed, and also having some perimeter shooters helps with that. So I think he'll be able to overcome that. But to me, that's the only question I have right now is, will we be able to see the supporting cast step up more than what they did last year? And I think the answer has already been, I think we've already seen the answer because we've seen Duren improve his game. Stewart has improved his game. Obviously, we got Duncan Robinson, who's, I think he's also just as much as a threat from being able to drive the ball and score on the inside as he is to be able to make threes sometimes. But there's a lot of guys who show up, and it's clear that this Pistons team has gotten better than what they were last year. So I'm pretty confident that they'll be okay in terms of when the playoffs come and Cade is seeing these triple teams sometimes and double teams and being swarmed like crazy. I'm pretty sure we'll be okay because he's already dealing with a lot of that through this regular season when the Pistons are going on and beating some of these teams. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm super excited about these next few matchups. They have the Chicago Bulls, the San Antonio Spurs, Oklahoma City Thunder, Orlando Magic. They see a lot of good teams in the next few games, so you'll definitely be able to see some more classics. Jalen Duren is going to be coming back from suspension pretty soon. You also have Isaiah Stewart is going to be coming back from suspension. He's going to miss most of these games that I just mentioned, but it'll still be interesting to see how this Pistons teams line up against these other, they're not bad teams, solid teams. Some are the best in the NBA right now. Like I said, the Spurs, Oklahoma City Thunder. We play the Celtics again, so I'm super excited to see what they do. And above all, Adam Silver is trying to change some rules now. He said tanking is a problem. We'll explain a little bit more on Adam Silver's theology on what will end tanking and why he's even addressing it so quickly. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It is halftime, and we'll jump into this Adam Silver news in just a second.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
All right, man. Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson. I appreciate you for tuning in. Hit us up on a voicemail line, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your tape back on the next episode. Now, as I mentioned, Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, is trying to shake some things up about anti-tanking rules. Now, it was reported Adam Silver had a lot of pressure to fix these anti-tanking teams and these teams that are tanking so quickly because a lot of bettors had put on the pressure. They put the pressure because it was ruining the over-unders. It was the ability to accurately predict the scores and the players' props and things like that. So Adam Silver immediately went to work and had tried to figure out some sort of rules that they can implement for next season that will prevent tanking in the NBA. And again, a lot of this pressure came from sports betting companies and other partners involved with the NBA. So it makes sense that, when the mob get involved and tell Adam Silver, hey, you need to fix this, he immediately moves and says, let's fix this right away. So some of the things that he's going to incorporate, possibly just some ideas that has been led out right now, is per Shams, the commissioner, Adam Silver, he informed general managers of the NBA that they're going to meet for anti-tanking rule changes for next season. And the concepts that were discussed were first round picks can be protected only top 4 or top 14 plus. Lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or later date, no longer allowing teams to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or consecutive bottom 3 finishes. That's a good one there. Yeah, no longer allowing teams to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom 3 finishes. I like that. I'll explain in just a minute. Teams can't pick top 4 in a year after making the conference finals. Lottery odds are allocated based on 2-year terms or 2-year records. So similar thing. Lottery odds are extended to increase or to include all play-in teams. And then they flatten the odds for lottery teams. So these are some of the things discussed. It's nothing that is permanent as of right now. But the few things that stuck out to me that I think could really help the anti-tanking in the NBA and that could end tanking in the NBA. First, I don't think you could ever just completely end tanking in the NBA. I think there are some teams that truly, truly strive to just be mediocre and that strive to be subpar. Because it keeps enough money in their pocket where they can stay afloat, and it also keeps the fans engaged just enough where they're not asking for too much more. So I truthfully think you can't really ever end tanking, but this is a good start, honestly. So some of the things that stood out to me in terms of these anti-tanking proposals from Adam Silver was the no longer allowing a team to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or consecutive 3 bottom finishes. So this would completely eliminate any team from, being bad. I mean, truthfully, 3 years in a row. And if you've been in the bottom 4, then you don't get that chance of being in the lottery and things like that. And I think it's cool. But again, 3 consecutive bottom finishes or 3 consecutive bottom 3 finishes, that does give a team enough time to actually recoup. And I mean, if you finish bottom 3 years in a row, or if you finish bottom 4, what is it? Team to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom 3 finishes. That makes sense then. So if you finish bottom 3 in multiple years, then that is enough time to still get a good rebuild. So it's still kind of lenient. I'm more so on the one of, not letting teams get there after just consecutive years. I think, if you take the 2-year record, the 2-year term, I think that's okay. There was one in here. There was a rule where, let me go back to it and try and find it. Yeah, I think there's something where you look at the record from just multiple years and then 2 years, I would say 2 years at a time. If you look at the record from 2 years at a time, I think that would be a good way to truthfully manage of, what could be good and who could be tanking and who wouldn't be tanking in the NBA. I think that's a good way to do it. Another one that did stick out to me was teams can't pick top 4 in a year after making the conference finals. Interesting. Teams can't pick top 4 the year after making the conference finals. That's interesting. Obviously, we've seen the Dallas Mavericks literally do the same exact thing. I think it's interesting, a good way to stop tanking, because even if you lose stars or some players are traded or whatever the case is, it still gives the GM time to try and win and make something happen and be active to not fall to the bottom, because you're not getting a top 4 pick. So it just, in a way, pushes the GMs to have a little bit more urgency to truly make some good moves and help the team for when players come back and they're healthy or whatever the case is. And then the last one was, that's the one I was looking for. Lottery odds allocated based on 2-year records. This is the rule I like here for anti-tanking. I think you have to combine a couple of these rules to really stop the tanking pandemic in the NBA, but anti-tanking rules, these are really the 2 that I like. The lottery odds allocated based on 2-year records, and also the one where you no longer allow teams to pick top 4 in consecutive years and or after consecutive bottom 3 finishes. These 2 together sound good to me. I think it's a really good idea, and it could be implemented in a way that could truthfully really, really help the NBA and stop teams from just trying to tank and rest players and things like that. Ultimately, it's a very tough situation, but something also I was thinking as well is, I think, so a couple ideas, I just want to share, and it's possible it could be good. It could also be very stupid, but something I was thinking is like, all right, similar to the NFL where, worst team in the NBA or worst team in the NFL gets that first pick. Like, instead of trying to do, there's a lottery and all of this when the NBA rigs the lottery anyway, maybe go to something similar to the NFL where the worst team is going to get the pick regardless, no matter what. And I think I would be okay with that. But it would still really shake things. It wouldn't really shake things up in the NBA. I'm afraid that people would still try and tank for that worst record. And then in another sense, you could go by a point threshold. If you don't have a certain amount of points in the NBA through the season, once the season finishes, then you don't get a chance to even argue and compete for the lottery. Like, you need to be intense. You need to be competitive all year long. So if you don't reach this threshold of this many points at the end of the season, then you aren't even considered for a lottery team in the NBA. If you're going to keep the lottery, I think that could be a way to keep teams competitive and keep teams fighting and trying to really get the best product out there on the court. But ultimately, on the flip side, it could hurt teams because maybe they just don't have enough talent. Maybe they truthfully can't really reach that threshold of teams being able to get that certain amount of points. But I think this is why you have to have a discussion about it and put something together of this is the threshold you need to meet, because if you don't get here, you're clearly not even trying. So I think that tied into a couple other rules, meaning the 2-year records could be good that I mentioned, the lottery odds being allocated based on 2-year records, tying that into the point total would be good. The not allowing teams to get top 4 picks in consecutive years could be really good, or after bottom 3 finishes in consecutive years. I think tying these things in could truthfully help stop the whole tanking thing in the NBA. Because it's not that the NBA is bad right now. It's not that the product is bad. It's just, we don't even see guys playing. We don't see a lot of the talent in the NBA playing. We don't see a lot of the talent trying. We see teams tanking, and this is ruining the experience for a lot of fans, which is why some fans don't watch the game anymore or don't try to go to the game anymore, because you're missing the stars that make the game great and the good players that make the game great. So it's a little weird, but I ultimately think I'm glad they're doing something. Sucks that it had to be a bunch of pressure from the mob of the betting companies and stuff like that to really make Adam Silver move. But I'm just glad. Above all, I'm so glad. Out of all the rules that they put here to possibly throw out to help stop tanking, I am just so glad Adam Silver didn't say, let's do a tournament. Thank God he didn't say, let's do a tournament, because I really think the in-season tournament is just stupid. Doesn't really help. It brings intensity up just a tiny bit every couple of weeks around that December range, but still not really the best thing. And then I think the play-in tournament is just the dumbest thing possible. At this point, the play-in tournament has been around for like 4 to 5 years. Can we all please agree that it's not working? It's not good. The play-in tournament is a waste of time. And I know, yes, teams get a chance to get in the playoffs, but it's no reason teams should have a chance to get in the playoffs and also enter the NBA lottery draft at the same time. It shouldn't even be the case where that's an option. And I think that has also hurt the idea of tanking and kind of ties in to the idea of tanking in a sense as well, because it's just weird, man. If it's weird to me, and out of all I think it's only been 2 teams since the NBA tournament or play-in tournament has been around where we've seen I think it's been 2 teams we've seen actually go win a playoff series that were in the play-in tournament to get in the playoffs. Like it's weird, man. It's just weird, man. I'm done with the play-in tournament to get in the playoffs. Like, it's just, nah, man. It was cool during COVID. It was cool while it lasted. But at this point, if you're not good enough to be 1 through 8 in the NBA, where there's only 15 teams, like, come on each conference, you don't need to be in the playoffs. If you're not good enough to be 1 through 8, you're not good enough to be in the playoffs, bro. I'm sorry. And like, we just need to get back to that, because anything else now is silly. It's like, it's just extra noise you're hearing in the background. It's like you're trying to focus on one thing, but this keeps coming in the conversation. This keeps coming in the conversation. This keeps coming in the conversation. And that's what the play-in tournament for the playoffs that's what it is to be. Because it's just weird, man. It's a filler. It's a void filler that's not really filling anything. It's just adding extra noise, and it's not good noise at this point. So I don't know. It's weird. But other than that, look, man, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you for hanging with me during this time. I know I didn't give a pod episode earlier in the week also, but it was weird earlier in the week because, no NBA. NFL, obviously no football. Baseball hype. A little hype about baseball season. I think Cubs play today, so, cool with that. But other than that, man, look, that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to leave on a positive note, and a positive note here is just going to be continue. No, I don't want to use that. I feel like I use that too often. Positive note here is just going to be build a routine. It's not really something super positive, but, your strength becomes your routine. Your strength is in your routine. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. Think about, if you've been, let's just use the simple example of walking. You were bad at walking at one point when you were a little kid. Now you walk great. You walk just fine. Or whatever it is that you do on a daily basis, you get better and better. Talking to people, whether it's writing, whether it's doing your job, typing, at work, whatever it is at work that has become so easy for you, is because you do it so much. So it's in your routine. And I'm going to leave off with that. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys, man. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back later on. Friday today? Yeah, we'll be back later on next week. Y'all have yourselves a great weekend. Other than that, I'm up out of here. We'll see y'all later on next week, and so on and so on and so on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.